So far, you know the earlier chapters by heart, the mistakes, the surprises, the hurts, the small triumphs, but the later pages, the ones that haven't been written yet, are blank. Or are they? Welcome back to the story you become. This episode is called Future You, Present Voice. It's about how the story you tell about who you might become can quietly reshape who you are right now. Imagine someone named Lena. She's in her early 30s, working a job that pays the bills but leaves her feeling flat. She has a sketchbook tucked away, full of drawings from years ago. When she thinks about the future, one version of the story goes, "Be realistic. You missed your chance. In 10 years, you'll still be here, tired, going through the motions." When she believes this, she comes home, collapses on the couch, numbs out. The sketchbook stays closed. Another night, after a long conversation with a friend, a different narrative appears. "I don't know exactly how, but 10 years from now, I'd like to be someone who creates regularly, not necessarily famous, just someone whose days include making things." That future Lena feels a little more specific. Maybe she has a small studio corner? Maybe she shares her work online or at local shows. Maybe she has a couple of clients or collaborations. When she holds that image, tonight's question changes from "what's the point?" to "what tiny thing could I do that future Lena would thank me for?" Maybe it's 15 minutes of sketching. Maybe it's signing up for a weekend class. Maybe it's following one local artist whose work inspires her. Same present, same constraints. Two different stories about who she might become, and two very different sets of choices right now. The human brain naturally favors the present. Immediate comfort often wins over long term benefit. One way to gently balance this is to make future you feel a little more real. Not as a perfect, distant superhero who has solved everything, but as a real person who will one day wake up in the life you are building now. You might ask, if I met future me 5 years from now, what would I want them to be grateful I started? What will hurt them if I keep ignoring it? What small kindness can I offer them today? Sometimes the answers are big. Ending something that's harming you, starting something you've avoided. Often, they're surprisingly ordinary. Getting enough sleep, going to that therapy session, saving a small amount of money, practicing a skill inconsistently but persistently, having a hard conversation now instead of letting resentment harden. The story of your future doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be true enough and kind enough that you're willing to take one step toward it. If it feels okay, let's try a brief, guided imagination. You can do this now in your mind, and later, if you like, write it down more fully. Picture yourself 5 years from now, not in some unrealistic fantasy, not as a flawless version, just as someone who has had 5 more years of living, learning, and trying. Where are they living? How do they spend an ordinary day? What is one thing they have that you deeply wish for? Not necessarily an object, but a quality. More self respect, a bit more stability, a creative practice, a friendship, a calmer nervous system, a clearer sense of boundaries. Now imagine future you writing a short note back to you today. What would they say? It might begin with something like, "Dear me, I remember exactly how it felt to be where you are." Maybe they acknowledge your exhaustion, your fear, your stuckness. Maybe they thank you for one small thing you're doing now that made their life possible. Thank you for answering that email, for making that appointment, for saying no to that one thing that was draining you. You have no idea how much it helped. Of course, none of us can predict the future. Life will still surprise you in ways you cannot script, with beauty, with loss, with randomness. Imagining a future self is not a guarantee. It's a way of saying, I'm willing to care about the person I'm becoming, even though I don't know exactly what will happen. You don't have to be certain to be intentional. You don't have to know the whole plot to choose a direction. The truth is, future you is already on their way. The only question is whether your present choices will make their life a little heavier or a little kinder. Thank you for listening to Future You, Present Voice. In our next episode, Many Selves, One Story, We'll explore the different inner characters you carry: the protector, the child, the artist, the critic, and how to give them each a place inside one compassionate narrative. Until then, when you're unsure what to do, you might quietly ask, what would the me I want to become hope I choose right now? And see what answer rises.